All right, so we're going to start personal finance by talking about careers. And I think that's a really useful place to start because, um, different jobs pay different amounts of money, and some jobs are salaried, some jobs have wages. And so we're going to just kind of talk about some of the differences, some of the terms connected with careers, and just some of the options that are going to be out there. So some of this came from curriculum that I was given earlier this year. So there was a survey done, and what is the most important factor in job satisfaction? You can see that 49% said feeling accomplished. So although money and schedule and the job security are all important things, really just feeling like what the work is valuable is the most important things, at least for people through this survey. So that was kind of interesting. And I would really think, I think I said this in class, that money shouldn't be the most important thing when you're looking about what kind of job to get. Um, so, a career is a type of work a person pursues for the majority of their life um, that may involve formal education. So, a job is a specific task. So, we live in a world today where a lot of people maybe spend their lives working in one entire career. I have pretty much always been in the field of education. That's my career. But I haven't always been a teacher. I've been a teacher's aide. I have done some other things kind of in different types of schools. I worked at a residential school for a while where the kids like lived on site. I left the classroom for a little while and was a technology person that worked with teachers. So those are all things connected in the career of education, but I held different jobs. And that's really kind of become a theme, I think, in more recent years, that people don't necessarily have the same job for an entire lifetime. They do different things. People change jobs frequently. Sometimes even people change to different career fields and go into different areas, not just staying in education or not just healthcare, whatever it might be. So it's best to start thinking, though, about what types of careers you would be interested in. Do you like science? Do you like math? Do you like, working with your hands? And that might kind of help you kind of start to decide what type of career would be a good fit for you. So, when talking about jobs, it's necessary to understand how you get paid. So, some people are paid an hourly wage. So like even now, if you would babysit, and you get paid $10 an hour, so that's your hourly wage. Some jobs are salaried. My teaching position is a salaried job, and salary is nice because you know how much money you're going to make throughout the year. But the downside is no matter how much extra time you put in. So right now it is 10 o'clock on a Monday evening, and I'm creating this video. And I'm not getting paid any extra for that. It's just part of the task of the job. So, with hourly jobs, there is things like overtime that can kick in after you've worked 40 hours a week. And that usually is like time and a half. So you get paid, if you'd make $20 an hour, you'd get paid $30 an hour once you have overtime, because you're getting that time, $20, and then half of that amount again, which would be 10. So usually, you might work overtime and you can make a lot more money that way. So it's not like one is better than the other, but it's an important distinction that some people work hourly and some people have a salaried job. Many people work their entire lives in the same career. That's kind of what I already talked about. We live in a world today where there's a lot more flexibility and people do different things, but deciding on a career that interests you can give you a lot of job opportunities. Sorry, I have to keep moving my web browser all along because I keep blocking the screen. Many jobs are tied to a level of education or at least training. We'll talk about college later on. College is not necessarily the right choice for everybody, but gaining additional skills is kind of really something that, you're going to have to do that in almost any field. Whether you want to work construction, you got to have, the skills how to build things, right? And even if you want to, start working in a restaurant or something like that, you need to know, how to prepare the food or how to serve the food or how orders are made, and how the inventory of the food is restocked. So every job has its own set of skills, and then you can advance within that either by on-the-job training or going and gaining those skills at some sort of a school. Doesn't necessarily mean a college. But in recent years, a college degree has become much more necessary just because so many jobs, in the fields of medicine and computers require just such advanced training. So there are a couple of different types of education you can get. There are certificate programs. They're like a 1-year program, and you can get those types of things at like Ivy Tech. Associate's degree is like a 2-year degree, and you can do some things like in early childhood with a 2-year degree. So like maybe working in a daycare or running your own daycare. Some people get business degrees that are 2 years. But then if you go for a 4-year degree, you're starting to get to more people that would go to like IU would be after a 4-year degree. To become a teacher, I had to have a 4-year degree. To be a nurse, different kinds of nurses, but nurses often have a 4-year degree as well. And then a master's degree is 2 years of education after you have a bachelor's degree. And not everybody goes on for a master's degree. In education, it's fairly typical. So I have my master's degree. I've been out of school for 15 years from college, and I just finished in the last few years my master's. So, 10 years afterwards, sometimes people do go immediately. Some certain jobs require a master's degree before you can do it. Being a speech and language pathologist or a counselor, school counselor, those types of things require a master's degree before you can do them. So there is also a doctoral degree, which is an even advanced degree yet. That doesn't just mean like doctors of medicine. It can be doctors of other things, especially professors that teach college often get a doctoral degree. But other people that want to spend time like researching in a certain field often get this highest level of degree. And I already said that college is not the right choice for everybody, but there's also some other options that exist out there. You can be an apprentice. That often is for things like being an electrician or a plumber or a mechanic, where you're gaining those skills on the job. On-the-job training would be more like construction, where you're learning from somebody else and just kind of gaining the experience from doing things. There's also the military, where you can get a lot of skills, and you can also get some college paid for that way. And I already said this, no matter what career you go into, it's necessary to continue to learn. That's just a really important component of all this. One of the other terms that you'll hear us use in this class is opportunity cost. So opportunity cost is the cost that you're giving up by making a choice. So if I want to be a teacher, I cannot also be a lawyer and a doctor and a pilot, right? I can't be all those different things. Now, I can go back to school and get the education and switch things, but I'm usually, by making one decision, giving up something else. And even choosing to go to IU for college, you're giving up going to Ivy Tech, or you're giving up going out of state to school. So every choice that we make, and that's a little bit scary in some ways in personal finance, that we talk about like, everything has a cost to it, but you have to weigh your options and decide what's best for you. So just being kind of aware that, your time and money are things that you're going to have to give up to make certain choices. So this was an interesting statistic, and this is the last slide here. The unemployment rate of someone with a doctoral degree is 2.2%. That's really, really low. While the unemployment rate of someone with a high school diploma is 7.5%. Now, that's not a whole lot higher, but basically what that's saying is that usually the more education you have, the more likely you are to be able to have a more consistent job. Not always the case, but just that's the statistic here. And it says additionally that you will earn $2.2 million more if someone that has a doctoral degree over a high school diploma. So now that's over the course of a lifetime. That's not like in a year, but that does show you that typically, generally, the more education you have, the more likely you are to make higher amounts of money in a job. Not completely. And not that that's the most important thing, but typically, if you have more education, jobs are going to pay a little bit better. And those are all important things to consider when deciding on a career. You know, when I originally started out in college, I wanted to be a doctor. And it wasn't just the money, because doctors do make good money. There was other reasons, but part of it was the opportunity cost. And I knew I was going to be in school for 8 years to really get to be a doctor. And then it was going to be even more yet. And that's a lot of money. That's a lot of time. And I decided to kind of go a different direction with my life because of that. And it's, you know, it's everybody's own decision what they want to do. So in class, we're going to do, this will kind of lead us into researching some about colleges and different degrees that are out there, and then also looking at some careers. So that's going to be a couple of activities that we're going to do in class to kind of go alongside and just get some ideas about the numbers associated with how much jobs pay, but also how much does it cost to go to college. So that will do it for this first video. Thanks for watching.